Hey guys, so today's lesson is going to be on lip blushing, and this is a client that I did recently. Here is her before. As you can see, it's very discolored and she doesn't have a really defined lip line, which is why a lot of people opt to do lip blush. So in case you didn't know what lip blush is, it is a form of tattooing, just like all permanent makeup, but it's not like your traditional lip tattoo or lip liner that used to be very popular back in the day. Lip blushing is literally, the word blush is just a tint of pigment. So initially, even though those pictures that we see online, they're very bright, very pigmented and concentrated, that's not how it actually heals. I'm sure you've seen some healed results online. And even I personally myself, I have my lips blushed and it just looks really natural. It really just adds a little bit of pigment, especially for those people that have discolored lips or even dark lips. It helps to neutralize that dark lip effect. So what you saw me doing here at first was just mapping the lips. I don't do anything too elaborate. I know that there's a lot of artists out there that will take almost like 30 to 45 minutes mapping out the lips. For me, I learned this technique that is so easy and I literally get it done in like 3 minutes. So as you saw me with the white pen right here and then just perfecting the shape with this very, very thin lip applicator. And then another thing that I do here is I only outline the border of the lips. I don't overline. So if you're a PMU artist watching this and wondering, probably the same thing that every person asks, if we're able to overline the lips, the answer is no. Because if you tattoo any of this lip blush out on the outside of the lip, it's gonna heal like smeared lipstick. I've seen it happen. I've seen it in front of me. I've even seen it from my own clients from when I first started doing this and I had to learn the hard way. So you never wanna overline. Whenever you're doing lip blush, you wanna just do her actual lips. Now, let's talk about colors. You saw me there choosing 2 colors. I almost always mix pigments, almost the same as when I do brows. When it comes to lips, you always have to choose a very, very bright color because the effect once it heals is like half of that brightness. So you have to kind of overcompensate on the color so that once it heals, it still looks nice and bright and a little bit like of that rosy. So when it comes to color, obviously this is not going to be a color theory class, but I'll just briefly mention the way that I choose colors with my clients is I'll say, do you like reds, peaches, or pinks? And then based on what they tell me there, I'll go and look at my color options and then I take it from there. Another great option is for them to bring a lipstick that they really like a shade of the lipstick. And obviously you're never going to be able to fully match the color, but you can get very close. So as you saw me right there, just powdering the lips so that I don't lose my white pen outline that I created because it's just a gel pen, so you can easily clean it off. So what I do is I like to put some powder over it so that it becomes mattified. And then when I'm placing my fingers here directly on the outline to stretch, I don't completely erase the outline. So what I'm doing here is just using a 1RL. I'm using my machine at a low speed and I'm kind of etching back and forth, overlapping my strokes and gently outlining the lips. As you can see, I have a cotton round to sustain my pinkies. And I also have it there to kind of not erase my outline that I've already worked on. So I just advance forward little by little. This is probably the most intense part of the lip blush, is getting the outline because your hands are going to be a little bit shaky. If you're a brow artist watching this and you do powder brows, you know what it's like to do an outline on a powder brow, and it could be a little nerve-wracking because you have to be super steady. So with the lips, it's literally the same except harder because the lip area has different curves. Like her teeth are pushing out her lips. So it kind of just sits differently, and the skin is also very thin and sensitive. So you're not able to get a really good stretch like you would on the brows. When you're dealing on working on brows, you have a flat surface because it's on her forehead. With the lips, it's a lifted round surface. So it's so different. But the trick here is to go super slow. This is real time. It's not sped up. It's not slowed down. You can see how I'm moving little by little, just kind of tracing everything. So now you see my machine kind of going a little bit faster here. The reason for that is because once I'm done with my outline, which you can see right here, I just go in and color. I call this coloring basically, because you're just shading everything in, but it's just think of it as like lightly coloring, and you're using the tip of your needle. You're not at all going deep into the skin. Your clients will feel a little bit of this process. I'm not gonna lie. We do like to use heavier numbing when it comes to lip blush because the lips have a lot of nerves, and they can feel it a little bit more. They can also swell up a little bit more. Clients will swell up on the lips just by stretching their lips. I remember I made that mistake when I first started this with lips. I would overstretch because I was so nervous that I was overcompensating with making sure I had a really good stretch. And then their lips were swelling up way too much. So it was a combination of me overstretching, causing trauma, and then also going just too heavy-handed. So again, if you take anything from this, it's just you have to really be patient, take your time building up the color, and then you're just scratching the lip skin with the tip of your needle. It's very similar to shading on the eyebrow. If you're, just perfecting and mastering your powder brows, these are all tips that you can apply towards brows as well. It's stretching well and very gently just scratching the surface with the tips of your needles. You're not pressing any needles into the skin, whether it be lips or brows. Now let's talk about what I did here. So I first did the outline, which I'll mention right now. The outline is not going to stay this pigmented, okay? It is going to soften and it's going to blend with the rest of her lips. So don't think that this is like a lip liner tattoo. It just looks really concentrated right now because it's fresh. Then I did my first pass with the 1RL, the same one that I used to outline. And then I switched to a 5 curved mag. This is a magnum needle, so it's obviously 5 needles placed together in a curved setting. So think of it as like a paintbrush. It's flat. So the way that I'm shading is using the side, not in the flat part. I'm using the side kind of where the needles are stacked together, if that's making sense. It's not flat like if I'm painting a wall. It's actually straight. So then I go in with my second pass using the curve mag, shading everything all over again, overlapping layers. And I'll do this a total of, I believe, 2 to 3 passes. Sometimes I just leave it at 2 because, it just depends on how well her lips are taking it. And then other times I feel like I definitely need a third pass to kind of bring everything together. So here we are. This is the final result. She's a little bit swollen. Top lip got a little bit more pigment at the bottom, but she's booked for a touch-up, and we're definitely going to concentrate it a little bit more next time, but this is a great beginning. If you have any questions about lip blush and you need help with mastering this, let me know what tips you want to see. I'd be happy to do a more elaborated video.